Hello and welcome to this next installment of the LEGO Mindstorms EV3 hardware and software videos that we have put together for Lavner Camps. This installment, our third, concerns the various outputs that your robot can produce, whether it be movement or sound or graphics on the display. So without much further ado, we'll get started. Basically, all your outputs are to be found underneath the green tab down here where the mouse is on your EV3 software. I'm just going to close this window. All these, there are 7 different blocks down here, 4 of which concern motors, 1 of which concerns the display, 1 concerns sound, 1 concerns the little itty-bitty light that lights up around the center of the brick when you go to run a program. We'll start with the motors. I'm going to drag the first 2 up here, the leftmost 2. These are separately the medium motor, the one on the far left, and the large motor, inside one. These are the 2 types of motors that come supplied with the EV3 kit. They're basically the same control setup as I'll walk you through it right now. So here we have our medium motor. It's the medium motor. Here we have our large motor. Just a quick intro to the block. Up here is where you can select a port to basically which motor you want to drive. So if you've got your medium motor hooked up to, say, port B, you can pick port B. If you've got your large motor hooked up to port C, you pick port C, etc. Down here underneath the icon is the control for just the broad duration control. You can either have the motor turn off, turn on, or one of these 3 options: on for seconds, on for degrees, or on for rotations. The last 3 are basically the same. They're going to run the motor for a specified amount of time, just plain. On is going to run it forever until something interrupts it, and off will stop the motor dead in its tracks. The first 2 are very useful in dealing with loops and sensor input. The last 3 are good for basic movement, just if you want it to go so far. So we're going to leave it with on for rotations because that is what it comes with by default. Moving 1 to the left, we see this power icon, a little blue thing you can click. There's a slider here. You can slide it up and down. 100 is forward with full power, 0 is stopped, lower numbers is lower power, but new to the EV3 system is you can set a number that is negative. Negative 100 is full power in reverse rather than specifying forward and reverse the way you did with the NXT. LEGO says this is going to be more intuitive. I'm willing to take them and believe that, so that is that. You can also, instead of use the slider, you can click on the number and enter in your own. I'm going to enter 42 because, well, that's the answer to the eternal question of life, the universe, and everything. There you go. Hit enter, and that'll save the value in there. Next to it is number of rotations that the motor will travel before it stops. In this case, we could pick a number, let's say 6. Enter. There you go. This last one is basically specifies what happens when the motor has turned its 6 rotations. You have 2 options: either brake at end or coast at end. So brake at end true means that it's going to come to an abrupt stop. Coast at end means that it's going to it'll make those 6 rotations, and then it'll just let the inertia of the motor spindle just continue to turn. So you can choose what you want. I generally use with a brake at end. The way the controls for the large motor work are exactly the same, so at this point I've shown you both. At this point, let's move on to the other 2 movement types. We have, this is move steering is what it's called. Same thing here. You've got off, on for seconds, degrees, rotations. We'll leave it on rotations. We also have up here, where we had just 1 port the last time, we now have 2. So you can click on, say, B and change it to A if you had things in A and C, or you can make it A and D if you wanted to. You can make it, I don't know, C and D. It doesn't really matter. You just have to specify the 2 different ports. This will be assumed to be the one on the left, and this will be assumed to be the one on the right, though that is an arbitrary decision. But basically what that means is that your power is the same as before, the number of rotations is the same as before, brake at end is the same as before. You've got this new little function here, though, that tells you what your steering angle is. So setting it at -100 will make it pivot on its axis. In this case, it says counterclockwise. It all depends which way you orient the motors. And +100 will make it do the others. All the various numbers in between, as you can see, are going to make it turn in various amounts, with one wheel traveling at a slower speed than the other. That's move steering. Move tank is the last of the 4 types of move blocks. It's the same thing as previously, except you have, instead of having a power and a direction, you have 2 power levels, one on each side. This is useful, I assume, for building tank-like robots and things like that, wherein you have 2 separate treads, say. So you can pick the one, you can pick the other. If I say set this one to 75, set this one to, I don't know, set it to 25, that'll make this robot go around in a large circle to the left, say, if we've got the wires and motors oriented properly. So that is that. Now, the other 3 that you have here are your display controls, your sound controls, that didn't quite make it, and your brick status light controls. These are all various other ways the robot can output data. We're not going to get into data logging here, but you can display things. In this case, using the first one, you can display them on the NXT screen. You can do text, you can do shapes, you can do an image from a file, or you can clear the screen. This is a, basically, do you clear the screen after you're done? This gives you the X coordinate, this gives you the Y coordinate. I believe that, yes, you can set pixels depending on basically the number of pixels that you have. For some reason, negative is up in the Y direction and positive is down, so this is the bottom of the screen. 127 is, but I mean, I don't understand why they do that. That's just what Lego does. Sound is the same way. You can play a file, you can stop all sounds, you can play a tone. If that's the case, it'll give you a frequency. You can pick a frequency or you can enter your own. Duration, volume, play type, which is basically, do you want it to wait for completion, do you want it to play once, do you want it to keep repeating, etc. Or you can play note, which is basically you're just picking a note on a miniature piano keyboard here. Over here with the brick status light, this is a little light that comes on when you run a program. It's either green or red. You can turn it off, you can turn it on, you can pick color, you can pick green, orange, or red, and you can figure out whether or not you want it to flash or whether you want it to just hold steady. So those are the 3 other ways that the robot can output data. Not data, but just produce an output in response to various other inputs. That's basically all there is to this segment of the video, so I hope you learned something.